Good morning. Wednesday morning, I believe it is. I'm going to decided that I'm going to cut all this out. What I did is I lined up a 2x6, even with this, and then a ½ inch over. I'm going to take the skill saw, set it to the depth of 3/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to cut this right through here. So I'll be able to remove this section. And I did the same on this side. When I get this cut out, then I'll do the same thing for this part here, which you can't see under here because you got a 2x6 running this way. But there is a 2x6 running butted up against this one underneath, and it's run across here. So I'm just going to take and cut there. In other words, I get this out in sections, and there's a 2x6 running here. It happens to be on an angle. Why, I don't know. I just threw it in there. I didn't do any measurements because you wouldn't see it under the bench anyways, instead of squaring it off like I should have years ago, but not a big deal. So we get this out in sections because it's going to be easier to get rid of it anyways. And I doubt there's going to be any wood here that's worth it, but it might be. Might be worth saving. So on this one, off camera, I'm going to draw some lines here so I can cut this out. What I want to do is to get this whole thing out so that when I get the plywood, all I got to do is put it in. And I've got enough extra wood on the picnic table out there that when I have the wood cut down the middle, which I really didn't want to have done, but I have no choice, I can put a piece from here where this 2x6 is underneath here and go across and go up to here so that the seam will be even. My local Home Depot says it has delivery, but that won't be until tomorrow, which would be okay. I think it's free delivery. But with wood being delivered, you don't get to pick out what you want. So if it's got a lot of knots in it, and when it's cut down the middle, first of all, it's not going to be cut down the middle. It's not going to be cut at all. If they deliver it, I won't need to slice it down the middle, nor would I have to cut it at 65 inches. I can do all that here. And with this plywood out of here, I can still lay my plywood down and do my cut. So the problem is I can't pick out the wood I want. And they don't really pick it. They just grab it, throw it on the truck, and if you get a lousy piece, you get a lousy piece. And I don't want one that is warped or full of knots. I mean, it's only a work table, but I want it to be good. So I'm thinking of cutting this down, but I got to measure in here too. So when I lay this 2x6, this is the center line of the 2x4 that goes underneath the 2x6, as I showed in my video yesterday. So that's actually how it looks. So all I could do is score a line here, score a line here, and then I can get these sections out. And that would be the best way to do it. So I'll do all that off camera, and this is actually going to be part 1, and probably be 2 parts, I don't really know, of the bench project out here. The thing is very strong. Some of you may say, well, why don't you just rip it all out of here and build it? Well, that costs money. That costs big money. This is very solid. Now, for me to just go back to 2 sawhorses and a piece of plywood is going to be a flimsy way to work. When you're trying to hammer something or build something, you don't have a solid top to work on. You've got a bouncy piece of plywood, and it's okay for cutting wood, but an actual workbench, no. So this is good and solid. So why not utilize it? It's been good for all these years, and considering this is not pressure treated plywood, it lasted quite a while. I can't have a workbench in the shed. I just don't have any room, so that's why this is out here. Started out, as I said, a table for the cookouts and stuff, and then it ended up being a permanent table for storage underneath and for a work table, and in earlier years even used as a picnic table, sort of, that people can sit around. Okay, enough chattering. We're going to get on this and start measuring. What I want to do first is I'm going to try to remove some of this stuff here. And I got to get into my work clothes. I've got my good pants on here, and I'm not going to ruin them. So we'll set this over here. Get this stuff out of here. Oh, it's still going. Wow. Holy mackerel. It's a laundry basket. I didn't think that would hold water. Well, that's not good. Now I got a flood of water here to work around. That's not good. Well, I guess I don't have to worry about opening this thing up, do I? This is what happens around here. So I've got plenty of cardboard. We're always getting things shipped to us. I got plenty of cardboard, and I just put the cardboard down, and I can work in there, because otherwise I'll be tracking up the house. So yep, it's not too pretty in there. Well, that came up with the 2x6. That's not too good. It was nailed down to here, under here. So this is not pressure treated, but I've got enough scrap wood that I could put some blocking in. You can see the sawhorses originally with the legs rotted off years ago. That's why I cut them off. Here's a chuck block that I had when I worked. The guy in the carpentry shop made that for me when I had my 71 Ford van years ago. Here's my other propane bottle. So we're going to work on this and bang this out. I'm still not in my work clothes yet, so the worst I'll get is just sawdust on me. There was a lot of water. It didn't leak from this, but obviously the yard must have flooded. And here's the stuff that I'm going to throw out in this old laundry basket. I got radiator hoses and stuff from my old Dodge Dakota, and an old sprayer that's all locked up and everything else, and stuff I don't need. We're just gonna, that'll be added to the junk when I call the guy to haul this out, along with that wood. My garden hose, of course, I'm going to save. So we'll get rid of this. We got the old car ramps down here. You can see them right there. They're about 45 years old. I didn't make them. They were made out of angle iron. They're really good. Anyways, off camera, I'm going to work on this. You can see this is pressure treated, as I said. So I cut the wood so I wouldn't be cutting into this. And I was kicking the idea around last night while I was on the computer, farting around like I usually do, watching videos, and thinking, let's just cut this damn thing out, have it all prepped and ready to go when I get the plywood. It's not going to matter. The stuff gets rained down under there. It doesn't make any difference. It's not going to hurt anything. And it's a sad looking thing in there. Obviously, the water level must have came above them 2x6s, but there's nothing in there really that's worth. It's not going to get hurt. In other words, I have a better pump sprayer. It's the one I used when I was spraying bleach on the roof way before the guys pressure washed it there last year. So, anyways, I got to let this soak in a little bit more, then I can drop a piece of cardboard in there. I still got to cut the middle, so I left this 2x6 here because I got to cut on each side of it, and I got to still cut this here. Okay, I cut that. You can see the pressure treated on each side here, and the rotten plywood here. So, there's my handicap. I keep saying handicap, car ramps. So, alright. Yeah, there must have been a lot of water that came up even higher than those 2x6s there. But anyways, we'll clean this up. This plywood, it's in pretty good shape, except for the edges, like I say. But I'm not going to bother saving it. I'll cut it up and get rid of it. I just dropped this into place right now. I got to make a support block for each corner here, because this 2x4 is pretty well rotted on, well, the first 3/4 of an inch to maybe an inch. So I'll put a support block going from here over to here, and we'll screw it in. We'll get a piece of 2x4 or 2x6 or something. I'll stick in there, because we don't really try to nail to this. As a matter of fact, this was only nailed in one place right here, and this is the way it was. So it's cleaned off good, and as you can tell, that's pressure treated. We'll continue. I'm keeping that side of the bench as long as I can, so I can bang out the nails and everything, and they're not easy to come out. They're in there pretty good. A little trick that I found years ago is when you got a nail sticking up in the air, and you can't bang it out of the wood because it'll bend over if it's stuck in there real tight. Take a vice grip, set the vice grip, grip it tight, about maybe 3/4 of an inch away from the surface of the wood. Hold it tight and rotate it, and then bang on it. And that'll usually break the grip, because these things get rusted right into place, and these are galvanized. So, figure that out. Okay, so I'm going to continue on this. So it becomes a very good workbench once I get the new top on. And what I'm going to do, as I started to say, is where I got to cut it down the middle. I'm going to try to get 3/4 inch. If I can't, I'll get 1/2 inch. I'm going to put a piece from here over to this 2x6 here when I get this out of here. And where the seam comes together, I'll just nail that there too. So that should keep everything good and solid is in damn good shape. It's pressure treated too. Look at this plywood. Now this was in the pop-up camper, the slide out beds. That's what this is from. I have no idea, but it looks like a good quality. It's got a lot of laminations in it. And it's good quality plywood in it. That's why I say I was only going to do the perimeter on all four ends and leave the middle. But, we're going to do it right here. So now you can. I don't know why I put that in crooked. You know what I think it was? It was a scrap piece of wood that had an angle on it. I said, to hell with it, we'll just put it in that way. No problem. Hey, nobody could see it until now. You didn't know it was crooked, did you? Okay. Well, here's another one that came off with the plywood. And you can see this is not good. We're not going to go crazy, as I said before. It's all about money. This was the original sawhorses, and then the braces on that. So we're just going to simply, when we get this rest of this plywood off, we're going to screw a block from here on an angle over to here. So it'll give something for this to nail on, because these nails here were down into here, but they're not going to really get any support for there. It's got quite a bit. Let's take you inside here. You're inside now, and you can see that most of the 2x4 is good. It's just, you know, about 1/3 down rotted. We're not going to worry about that. We can stick a piece of wood in here. We're going to have pressure treated on top of this, so that's going to keep it dry. And what I might do, I got some Douglas fir that's in good shape, 2x6s. I may just screw it into here and give something for this to be nailed onto. I may go that route. So it would go from here, because you can't really put it over here without notching this out, and it's not really worth it. And 2x6 would go right onto here. Of course, this ply would have to be out of the way so I can do my thing. Go right across up to here. And that would give me a good solid support here. I told you about, you want to bang these nails out, 9 out of 10 they will just bend over. They need to be loosened up. So this is what I do. Okay. Now, unless this is nailed from the top, and this plywood's holding it down, this should come right out. So what I do is I tap it here until this vice grip comes down to the surface of this, and then I relocate it. We'll do the same to that. And if it doesn't come out, then we got to get the plywood off of this anyways, because we're going to use this wood again. So let me do this and get back to you. Okay, I tried doing that. Obviously, this was nailed first, and then the plywood was put on. So the ends apparently were done that way, and these nails were done the same way. So I got to get this plywood off, and these are larger nails, I think, as I showed earlier in the video. There's probably number 6 or number 8s for the plywood, and number 12s to go into here. So let me do all this. It's taking a long time. I have to keep stopping the video, and it's slowing me down. Okay, I think I'm going to brace it up and then put that piece back in. And like I say, we're going to sister up a piece in here. We're going to do a lot of this off camera to save video. Remember now, this is a project that I'm just trying to patch together. It's nothing more than a workbench in a storage area, and that's all it is. And for me to make a whole new bench, it would require a lot more wood. It's not worth it because who knows how much longer I'm going to be physically able to do anything. But I want a good, strong bench, even if I'm out here painting something, you know. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get probably a 2x6, although it should be pressure treated. I'm not going to use a good 2x6 right there. That one I was going to use for the handicap ramp flat portion of the deck. But I do have some scraps that I can put in there. So what I got to do is I got to make up something. And what I'm going to probably do first is let me get this stuff out of here. I'll do that off camera. Put a piece in here and then have a piece coming from underneath here over to this piece that I'm going to put in. It's just going to go over to here. I'll do all that off camera. Alright, we got the 2x6 sistered in and screwed in with 4-inch screws here. We got a block here. This is all the stuff left over from this stair stringer that I'm not going to use for anything else. So we got 2 screws here, 3-inch in there, and we're going to put this in here, and we're going to do that off camera. We're going to screw it down in here with 3-inch, and between that and this, it's going to give a good surface to put the 2x6 that we got over here back down on this again. Alright, we continue on what I'm going to call this project is the Hillbilly Outdoor Workbench, because that's exactly what it is. You can see what we got now. We got 3-inch screws holding this pressure treated block in here, and they got some here. We got some screws through here to hold the 2x6 to the sistered up 2x6 that I put on underneath there. And we did the same in this corner. So this is good and solid. What we got to do now is move our workboard over here so I can work on this end, because this is just laying here right now. So we're going to do the same on this end. This is bark end here. We're not worried about it. You're not going to see that underneath the wood. And this is the way it was because the white paint is here. So this is the part that was out. So we're using decking screws. We're using 4-inch in some places where it's needed and 3-inch in most other places. Alright, what I got to do here is the same as on the other side. Sister up a 2x6 to go against this, and we'll screw it into here and here just like I did on that side. You really can't. Well, you can see it a little bit over there. Now it's not pressure treated, but neither is this. But with the pressure treated top on this and a very good 2x6 that's not rotted, that's going to be sistered here, we can screw this to it. We'll be good to go here. I mean, you know. Remember, this is a hillbilly. This is the way I do things. I don't claim to recommend anyone to do the way I do it. I do it because it's what I can afford, and I can't see spending maybe $500 in wood to rebuild the entire bench, which I probably will not be using very much when I'm damn near 100 years old now. Okay, this is about it for today. This is part 1 of the Hillbilly Outdoor Workbench. That's what we're going to call it. Now, as I said earlier, I have no idea why this wood is on an angle. Maybe it was cut that way from some other project or something. I didn't feel like cutting it. I don't know. But anyways, because of it, I had to angle these pieces here. This is 24 inches right to here to here, here to here. So when I cut down that 3/4 inch plywood or whatever I get. I'll have a nailer all the way through here. I reinforced all this with corner blocking and other blocking in here. This is screwed down to the sistered 2x6s that are in there, in addition to locked in on the corners here. So this is pretty solid. At least when you bang on something here, it's not going to bounce around like it did before because of the rotted wood. So this concludes part 1 of the Hillbilly Outdoor Workbench project. Stay tuned for part 2 when I'll have the 3/4 inch plywood and we'll be putting that in. Thanks for watching.